So, one curiosity of a question that gets asked by a lot of folks, especially when it comes to this month, of every year, and mostly it's a question addressed to artists and writers of original content or content based on what they like certain characters and franchises. The one question that's asked is, what is so great about May of every year? And why is May dubbed Melting May? Well, to kind of answer that question as best as I could, like I said at the beginning of my review today, and as I've talked about prior, from what I understand, the reason May has been dubbed Melting May isn't because both words start with the letter M and all that. But I think it's mostly due to the fact that May is looked at as a transitional period when it comes to weather. May is looked at as the month where you're going to get different weather patterns building up to the summer. Basically you might go from you might start off, I should say, with mild temperatures. Then you might have a little bit of cold temperatures, like early spring weather, thrown in there. And then in between that, you might have some warm weather where you might have to put the cooler on later on in the day or not. But you're going to definitely feel warm, impact. And then after that, you might again have a bit of cold thrown in between. And then towards the end of the month, you start really feeling the heat wave coming in and giving you an idea of what you're in store for in the summer starting in mid-June. And the reason, because of all that, in my opinion, is why they dubbed this Melting May. Because you never know in the month of May where you might go from one day having mild to warm temperatures to hot triple-digit temperatures that you feel like even with the air conditioning on, you're melting. Thus, in my opinion, why they dubbed it Melting May. And also, I guess it makes more sensible wording and match wording, I should say, than Melting March, if you catch my drift. But the other reason why a lot of folks, artistic-wise, and from an artistic drawing standpoint and writing standpoint, with of original content or stuff based on what they like, the reason they also enjoy this month and the theme it's been given is because it allows them to, if they feel like it, to let loose. Yeah, it allows them to basically let loose and, to coin a phrase, go with the flow. Basically come up with potentially one-shot stories, if you will, where a character, like let's say, they decide, okay, let's do a Sonic Satam, Archie Sonic-based story, one-shot deal. And let's have Sally temporarily get these slime-like, goo-like powers that allow her to, go all elastic and everything, but also allow her to become a puddle. In other words, she can melt down into a puddle and all that and just have fun with it and kind of get, really personal with herself if they want to make the story mature, if you catch my drift. They could do stories like that. They could do something similar with, let's say, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic or New Generation with Sunny Starsky of New Generation or Rarity of Friendship is Magic. You kind of get the idea. And again, these would only be like one-shot, deals, whether it's stories or even, animated GIFs or even short animations or even just artwork itself. These would be one-shot deals to tie in with the month, and then they could just go and focus on what they focused on in the past, or not just in the past, but what they focus on currently outside of that. Basically get back on the norm, if you will. And that is why a lot of people like the Melting May theme that the month has been given. Not just because of the fact that, again, it ties into what the month is about, basically a transition between mild weather, warm weather, and hot weather with a bit of cold thrown in between. And not knowing when you're going to get what kind of whether on what day, you know, not only do they like the fact that it's dubbed after that reasoning, in my opinion, but again, it's basically one of those times of the year where, like I said, they could just let loose. They could just go and write or draw whatever they want or animate whatever they want, that's outside of the normal routine. And then once it's done, then they can go back for the rest of the year and focus on what they do normally, unless you have another themed month coming up, that they'll kind of put a little bit more extra work into to help celebrate or acknowledge. With this being the only one that I know of, it's just a one-time, once-a-year deal. It's kind of like basically, festivals and fiestas that happen during the summer. A lot around here in the Central Valley happen between, the end of May and basically the beginning of September. Mostly all the main ones that are important to people like myself, my sisters, my mom, stuff like that. They happen between the end of May and the beginning of September. And during that time frame, we at least go and enjoy all of them as, at least for once or twice well, not twice a day, but once or twice while they're around. But then afterwards, they go away until later on, until the next year. And then when they come back, we go back and we enjoy ourselves again. At least we try to. And that's kind of, as crazy as a comparison as that may sound, that's kind of like what Melting May is for artists and writers. It allows them once a year to just let loose, to kind of like, still do what they're doing, but also have a little extra fun on the side, kind of let loose, go with the flow, be a little silly, with the melting theme when it comes to original artwork, original stories, or artwork and stories based on things they like. And that in artwork, like I said, it can include animations, short animations, short animated GIFs, stuff like that. So it's just one of those times of years that, even though it's not an official holiday or anything, still it is basically looked at as a very important, time of the year for artists and writers of all kinds, and even their fans. Because, like I said, they are allowed to let loose and kind of step away from the normal routine that they do to have a little silly fun in between, and by coming up with what kind of different pictures and animations, animated GIFs, stories that they can come up with that they know are just going to be a one-time deal, that allows them to just take that break, that mental break, if you know what I mean. But anyway, that's the best I can explain why May was dubbed Melting May, and why people look at it as a remarkable time of the year, especially if they're an artist or writer of any kind. But let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. What did you think of Melting May when you first heard of it, or it being dubbed that? And I will talk to y'all later.